familiar face. I never thought I'd see you again. At a crossing in the road, you pull out some whiskey and offer it to him. He studies your face and there's a flash of recognition. I remember you. You want me dead, I reckon. Is that poison? Find me when you know how to kill a cowboy. As he rides off, your shaking fist slowly unclench. Next time. Haunting. You're visited in the night by a visage of your... As you hand them your poison whiskey, everything goes white and you wake up. You're sad to leave the dream, but as you prep to get back on the road, you notice your poison whiskey has turned into a whiskey. Oasis. After a long trek through the desert, you stumble onto a pool of clear blue water surrounded by shrubs. There's no critters around, too. You take a drink from the pool and feel refreshed. You're grateful this wasn't a mirage. Hanging in town. A criminal is about to be hung by the sheriff. They look kind of sad about the whole thing. You have a front row seat and grab your... You take a sip of whiskey and ponder the ephemerality of life. You're overcome with existential dread.
Ouch!
All aboard! As you make your way through the train stop, an older cowboy meets your gaze and waves you over. He tells you they hand you their long lasso and give it one last wistful look. I tied up so many bandits with that darn long lasso. And plenty of farmers' sons and daughters, too. He sobs as he steps aboard the train. Campfire. Your legs are achy after a tough day on the road. You strike up a small campfire and take a load off. You can't explain why, but something about this place makes you feel totally rejuvenated. You wonder if there's magic afoot. Treasure? What could this be? While trudging through an especially sandy stretch of desert, you damn near break your foot on something hard and wooden. Must be something buried here. As you sift through the sand, you uncover an old chest embossed with gold. Let's see what's inside.
Ow!
Hanging in town. A criminal is about to be hung by the sheriff. They look kind of sad about the whole thing. You have a front row seat and grab your... You offer your long lasso as the hangman's rope and save the sheriff some time. Fortune tell. A shrouded figure back... You attend a local auction where you flaunt your wealth. A local businessman is impressed by your gold tooth, and you become friends. Farmer's son. You sneak onto the farm and look for a snack, and find the farmer's son standing outside the barn with a can of beans. He calls you over. You walk over and try to play it cool while planning a romantic gesture. What's your move? The farmer's son and your old baron instantly fall in love and run away. You try to drown your sorrows.
Ooh!
Farm work. As you make your way past the lone farm, you use your lasso to rustle up some cattle on a hard day's work. Wagon in danger. They could use some help. tracing the top edge of a mason. You barely manage to grab Cowboy before the wagon falls over the cliff. In the process, your finger gets caught in a wagon wheel and gets ripped off.
Ooh!
Cathartic you wake up in it. You recall the long list of ways you've mistreated your cowboy. The priest laughs an inappropriate amount as you speak. You think of your favorite parts of your cowboy. A second chance. Toward the end of a long classic, safe. You slowly sneak over to the gunman's camp to get a better shot. Everything's going well. Farmer's daughter. You sneak into the farm to look for a snack and find the farmer's daughter standing outside the barn with a basket of peaches. She calls you over. You walk over. You take her for a romantic ride on your dead horse. Looks like the beginning of a nice romance. Hanging in town. A criminal is about to be hung by the sheriff. They look kind of sad about the whole thing. You have a front row seat and grab your... You recognize the criminal and recall fondly the time you two spent together at the wedding. Oasis. After a long trek through the desert, you stumble onto a pool of clear blue water surrounded by shrubs. There's little critters around too. You take a drink from the pool. Haunting. It's late. You visited. As you show them your triple whiskey, everything goes white. As you wake up, you're sad to leave the dream. As you prep to get back on the road, you notice your triple whiskey is different. I guess the only thing better than one triple whiskey is two. Traveling salesman. His wagon is open and displaying a variety of Western wares for sale. Something catches your eye. You walk over to the salesman and hope to make a trade. What will you offer? You offer the salesman your money in exchange for some much-needed Western gear. Friendly poker game. As you show your hand, the dude across the table springs out of his chair and points his finger at you. This is good for... You throw your bottle at the accuser and a fight breaks out.
Ooh!
Cathartic confession. You wake up in a decaying chapel. The roof is falling apart and the pews are all rotten. The confession booth is the only thing in pristine shape. Something calls you towards it. A priest. You tell the priest you have a drinking problem and he asks if you have any drinks with you now. You bond late into the night over the bottle, talking about all whiskey has done for you. Oasis. After a long trek through the desert, you take a drink. Farmer's son. You sneak onto the farm and look for a snack and find the farmer's son standing outside the barn with a can of beans. He calls you over. You walk over and try to play it cool while planning a romantic gesture. What's your move? The farm...
Ow!
Haunting. You visited.
You tell him about the
Fist fight.
and everything goes white. As you wake up, you're sad to leave the dream. As you prep to get back on the road, you notice that
Fist fight.
has become a
Wrestling match. Treasure? What? While trudging through an especially sandy stretch of desert, you damn near break your foot on something as you sift through the sand.
Ouch.
traveling sales. His wagon is open and displaying a variety of Western wares for sale. Something catches your eye. You walk over to the salesman and hope to make a trade. What will you offer? I see you're a cowboy of fine taste. That's a fine looking
Horse.
Bet you never seen one of these bad boys.
Campfire. Your legs are achy after a tough day on the road. You strike up a small campfire and take a load off. You can't explain why, but something about this place makes you feel. The final encounter. On a supply run in town, you're stopped by a postman. He says he has a message for you from someone called the Gunman. You open the letter and discover it's an invite. Tonight at sunset, the gunman will be waiting for you at the mountain, El Typo. He wants to settle this once and for all. Kill or be killed. Use the rest of the day to plan your final showdown. You realize you actually have plans today. You're going to a wrestling match, so you decide to invite the gunman and have your standoff there instead. You get to the wrestling match a bit early and have some time to yourself. You think of all the moments that have led to this one and steel yourself for what's coming next. When the gunman arrives, you're sitting alone looking westward. He silently nods and you nod back, and then both get in position for a fist fight. The guests at the wrestling match are curious but don't quite understand what you're up to. After another set of nods, you rush at each other and start throwing punches. A commotion breaks out as the other guests jump to their feet and start cheering. You lose yourself in the moment and go into complete flow, dodging every punch and landing every hit. The gunman drops quickly. Eventually, the wrestling match crowd pulls you off him. You're out of breath and sweaty, but slowly, you realize you've done it. The gunman is dead. You got revenge, partner.